Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America. Tonight on Internet Radio America, it's the two-wheel meltdown. Mark and James are in the house. The call-in number is set 617-381-4700. And now, live from the Bacon Drivetrain headquarters, here's Mark and James.
Thank you, Frank. We are here. This is another edition of the Two-Wheel Meltdown. Mark P. here with you as always, and James is back with me. We had a little spell down in Daytona at this small little gig that they call Daytona Bike Week. How you doing, James, and how'd Daytona go, buddy?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little under the weather. Got a little bit of cold thing going on.
So if he doesn't sound normal, that's why.
Yeah, like I sound normal anyway, right? But,
damn New Yorkers.
So it was a good week. Grueling, man. I'm still playing catch up, but it was a good time.
Well,
we did well.
That's good, and that's what it sounded like from everybody else here that came back on the truck and trailer. What we like to call the Baker bus. It sounds like we had a good show, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. Question of the day, as Frank told you, the call-in number is 617-381-4700. I strayed from the motorcycle thing, but I'm staying made in America because Hollywood is here in America. And Hollywood is who produces all our films. There are a good portion of them. And I know most everybody in America has seen a movie at one point or time in their life. There's a lot of people that say, I don't watch TV. I don't go to the movie theater. Yeah, screw you. You're missing out. Simple question, man. What is your favorite movie of all time? I have pondered this all day long thinking about it. And I don't have a favorite. There's not one single movie that I can say, man, this is better than everything else. I love a lot of what Kevin Smith has done recently with the Mallrats and the Silent Bob and the Jay and Silent Bob and those good movies. I love The Patriot, the Mel Gibson flick. I love the other Mel Gibson flick where he's a Scottish guy beating the hell out of people. Another great flick. And the list goes on and on for me. I can't say there's one movie that stands out and says, hey, I'm your movie, Mark. This is the one. James, do you got one movie that you would say is your favorite, or do you got a couple?
No, as a matter of fact, I do. And believe it or not, it is not a motorcycle movie. As much as I love motorcycles, my favorite movie is not a motorcycle movie.
It's got to be attached to you somehow, though.
Yeah, my favorite movie is Goodfellas because it illustrates a lot of the good values that I live by.
Right. The good values of an Italian growing up in New York.
Come on, you gotta admit it's an awesome
film. Great movie, and I love all the movies that are similar to it. I don't know that any of the rest of them have touched it, but a lot of them have touched on it. Casino was great. Oh man, the Godfather movies, that's Matt's favorite. The Godfather movies, you got the Scarface, which is
Scarface is a classic.
But along the same lines of the gangster movies, there's a lot of them out there. Folks, if you have a movie that you want to tell us about, or maybe one that we've never heard of, we're just discussing popular movies here. Give us a call, 617-381-4700. You got something?
You got to throw Gran Torino in there too, of course.
Oh man, yeah, no kidding. That was doesn't seem like that long ago, but I guess it's been a few years. But great movie. Clint just he banged it there. We had a little sound clip there, didn't we?
You ain't left up too many. Scotland.
There it is. That's the flick I was talking about, Braveheart. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's the movie. I love it, and we want to know what you love. Give us a call, 617-381-4700 here on InternetRadioAmerica.com. All right, am I running behind already, James? Where are we at?
Oh, you're right.
All right on
schedule.
time.
Look
We're
at
doing
you. Look
okay.
at you.
6:05 on the dot. Tech tip of the week. This is not going to be one single tech tip. This is many. And it's not all that technical. It's just things that I do when I get my motorcycle ready to go in the spring. It is spring. It's the official first day of spring. And there's a few things that I would like you folks to know about that you should handle with your motorcycle before you take it out. First off, the fluids. There's all kinds of discussion about what oil, which oil, when do I put it in, how many miles. I deal with mine once a year, and I deal with it in the spring. Some people choose to change their oil in the fall. They got their own theory, how it works. I do mine in the spring. Do yours in the fall if you wish, but do it. Make sure you get all your fluids changed. That means primary, that means motor, that means transmission, and whatever grade and whatever weight oil you use, just use it and make sure that gets done. That's something that has to be handled. Now, James clued me into something today because I was trying to start my bike out in the freezing cold before it goes down to Mississippi. I'm like, man, I had the battery tender hooked up all winter. The battery was good. I had stable in the gas tank. And James said, did you clean out the float bowl? And I said, no. Why? Why do we clean out the float bowl, James?
I've found to always drain the bowl, even if you have stabilizer in there. I like to run mine dry when I store it for the winter. But if you have fuel in there, it just seems to go stale in the bowl. I cannot explain it. It's kind of like a secret phenomena or something.
It's like a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
It's out there, but we just can't explain it.
Somebody watching.
Yeah.
Bad people.
Big brother.
Pull the drain plug, drain the bowl out first, open the petcock, get some fresh fuel in there, give it a couple of squirts, pull your choke or pull your enrichener, depending on what you have. If you have a carbureted motorcycle, and hit the button and go. Hopefully you had stabilizer in your fuel and your fuel hasn't gone bad. Your battery's topped off, and it's one of the things I always do.
Now, stabilizer, this is just a personal preference. I always just buy stable. I know there's a ton of them out there, but I've heard a lot about Seafoam. Have you heard about Seafoam before?
I've heard about Seafoam. It's really popular with marine guys. In particular, I think I've been using a product called Startron, and reason I like it is it kills a lot of ethanol-related problems with fuel. There's so much ethanol.
E10,
Yeah.
and they're trying to push E15 on us. I've got to hook this little funky right there. I've got to change that. Okay, continue.
No, but I've had good luck with it. I've used Stable for years. There's stuff available under all names, but I mean, do something, use something.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. You got to get something in the tank, otherwise you're gonna be really sorry in the spring. There's always moisture that condenses in a gas tank, right? So you gotta have something that keeps the gas fresh. I got to ask this question of you. I didn't think about it before, but there's the heat stuff that I've always used in my cars. Heat.
It's just isopropyl alcohol, I think. I mean, back in the day, we used to call it heat or dry gas, what have
right.
you. I think there's so much ethanol. There's more ethanol in gasoline now than should be in there. I don't think it's really necessary to add any additional,
Gotcha. And I've found a place that's local that actually sells real gas, no ethanol in it anymore, and I'm going to start putting that in my motorcycle. If Google it, folks, there are oil companies out there that you may have to go right to the company, but they got gas pumps set up, And you can get the real gas. You don't have to deal with the ethanol, and screw those people. I don't agree with ethanol. Just my opinion.
How do you really feel, Mark? That's the thing, man. You're just so shy, so timid, and nobody can read you.
Okay, I'm going to try and stay on time here tonight. Our dealer of the week is coming up. We've got Doug Kiem from Creative Cycles. They are in what part of your East Coast vicinity out there, James?
Wall, New Jersey. They call Doug Kiem the pride of the Jersey Shore.
Nice, nice.
Good guy, long-time friend, long-time dealer.
And we will be speaking to him shortly. We've also got, hopefully, God have Paul from Bare Knuckle Choppers. We've been talking about him since probably week 2 or week 3 of this show. And we got him on once. We had a power outage, and then there was scheduling here, scheduling there, back and forth, back and forth. And we're finally going to get him on for a live broadcast at about 6:40. As I told you, we are going to touch on a little Daytona recap and find out what James seen and who he met and how the crowd was down in Daytona. And I've got the Mark P. story time coming up about 6:35. And, well, before I get into the next thing, we've got a caller, and it's probably Mr. Doug Kiem. Doug, are you there, buddy?
Yes, sir, I am. How about yourself? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
How's it going, Doug?
Good.
Awesome.
Real good.
Doug, this is the Two-Wheel Meltdown. We do this every Wednesday from 6 to 7. It's based on American-made products and also motorcycles, two things that you are very familiar with. We do have listeners that are not part of the motorcycle industry. So, Doug, can you give us a little background about Creative Cycles, where you came from, and what you do?
Short version, I've been pretty fortunate, like so many guys in this industry. I get to do what I like doing for a living, which is, screwing with bikes and stuff. Started this business like 33 years ago.
Nice.
And, done everything from sport bikes, road raced a little bit, drag raced a little bit. When you're my size, which I'm about 6'2", and in that 230, 240 category, kind of tough being a good road racer because all the other little guys like to draft behind you. So I was never much of a good road racer, but it was fun, And since then, just stayed with the progression. Been very, very fortunate, very blessed. Built some pretty cool toys, and developed some real good relationships,
And that's how a few guys have started, is getting into the racing industry, or the racing end of what the motorcycle industry is, kind of lends you a hand into understanding the motorcycle a little bit better and understanding the mechanics of it, and it's wrapped around into an actual job for you. Can you tell us what kind of jobs you handle there at Creative?
Creative Cycles, I guess like so many people, it's still to this day an evolutionary deal. We were like everybody else. We modified stock motorcycles back in the day. We fixed stuff that was broken. We did routine service and maintenance. And as the custom aspect of the industry continued to grow, being that I understood engineering from building drag bikes and doing road race stuff, and I also built some circle track cars, NASCAR modified style cars, I knew some things that perhaps not everybody knew about geometry and the way suspensions work and offset fork trees and the need for them and trail correction and so on and so forth. And just applied what I knew to building bikes that were well built, that were well designed, that were still fun to ride regardless of their length or their, whatever. We never went too radical in that ridiculous looking thing, but we always built stuff that I thought was well thought out, well engineered, timeless. I was always into elegant and timeless, and I wanted the guy that was the engineer to be able to get on his hands and knees and look around and go, "Wow, holy crap! Look what they did!" To this day, we are still just a normal on-the-corner motorcycle shop that does oil and filter changes and we repair broken motorcycles. We do service work. We do engine performance. And, right now, the bagger craze. We're currently working on 2 very, very high-end baggers for 2 of our clients that want something really cool that they are, that they'll be able to ride, get a whole lot of attention out of.
I want to touch on a little piece of Doug history. When I was with S&S Cycle years ago and Baker was involved, we had this Hard Rock Roadhouse tour with some custom bikes, and Doug built a way out-of-the-box bike for that. I mean, it was like a drop seat, crazy thing before that was popular, and
I remember that.
It just blew me away. It just blew me away because it was so different where, people just kind of scratch their heads and say, well, I don't know if I like it or I don't like it, but it's kind of funny how you can be a trendsetter and do something, and then all of a sudden it's in vogue, and people say, oh, wow, yeah, that's really cool, and you're like, wow, I did that a few years ago,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's happened more than once. Absolutely. And I'm glad you like that bike. I got to tell you, that whole half-inch plate, down tube and the half-inch plate swing arm and stuff that we had water jet cut. That was kind of radical for the time because everybody was trying to make, that lightning bolt kind of appearance, and they were all trying to do it with tubing. So that was a cool bike. You're absolutely right. And it was certainly tiny. That was 4 under in the neck and 8 stretched. That was a cool bike. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, different is good. I like things that are different. I mean, hell, I'm a little different.
And that bike was fun to ride, too, believe it or not.
Yeah, I remember you guys did some great riding shots. I think that group had the late Johnny Chop and Roland Sands, and
there's actually a very nice YouTube video about that. If you search on like Roland Sands, Johnny Chop, my name, that comes up, and it was shot in Daytona by Darren Ryan. That was a very cool video.
We're going to have to like that on the YouTube page, our YouTube page, and include it. Folks, for those of you who don't know, we've got Baker Drive Train 1 is our YouTube channel, and now we're going to be connected to Doug Kiem at Creative Cycles as well. Thanks, you two, for bringing that up. Doug, American Made, that's a lot of what this show is about. Can you just tell us a little bit about what American Made means to you?
Well, being the son of a Marine, having an ace son that was a Marine, I have another son that is Army Special Forces. It means a great deal in a world filled with people that are more inclined to go out and buy the part that is they perceive to be cheaper, when in reality it is cheaper. It's cheap. It's not necessarily less expensive. We all know that, in a competitive marketplace where you can look at something that's $2,000 and someone's offering it for perhaps $1,900 and it's a good deal, and you buy it because it is within that realm of common sense. And then there are these other products, and we'll use Baker Drivetrain as a perfect example. A Baker driveline component is the state of the art. It's the SAE that the entire industry wishes that they could be. And you have these foreign-made copies that are $600, $800, $900 that, come on, we're all intelligent people to some extent. When one product is $2,500 and this guy's offering you something for $600, how good can it really be, regardless of what the warranty they claim is?
If it seems too good to be true, it probably is, huh?
Exactly right. And I see that every day in my industry, where there are products that I just don't sell. And I'm not going to mention brand names or anything, but people walk out of my store frustrated sometimes because I'm not going to sell them Billy Bob's part because, look, it's a third of the price. Yeah, but I have to stick my reputation on that part. I'm not going to sell it. There are a lot of products that I do not carry for that very reason.
And guys that stand behind their work like you do and use good products, you probably have a good long list of long-time customers and guys that promote you and bring you other work rather than just, Johnny off the street. Would that be pretty accurate? Or?
Well, I could give you my own personal opinion on that, but forgetting my opinion. Like I said, we've been doing this for 30-some years. I've been in this same building for over 20. And, let's face some realities. The economy isn't good these days, and I would like to think that it is getting a little better. But we're still here. And I guess there has to be some real mentality behind the fact that we are concerned about providing quality. I'm not just going to patch it together and stick a Band-Aid on it and say it's right. You know, we're going to sell good stuff, and if you're not in the market for good stuff, and mind you, I did not say the most expensive stuff. If you're not in the marketplace for having it repaired correctly, you're probably not going to do business with me.
That's a great point, man. It's not always less expensive to buy the foreign stuff. There's been my lovely better half, Tina, works at a store they call Meyer Thrifty Acres. You may have heard of it. It's big here in the north, but she's always taking the cheapest route, and sometimes she brings home stuff that comes from a country that I don't want to mention. Oh no, I'll mention it. Screw them, China. And I say, Tina, why are you buying this? Well, it was the cheapest. Well, the other day she says, well, look at this. We always buy this brand. I'm not going to mention brand names. We always buy this brand, but look, this brand is cheaper. And I looked on the back of that brand and I said, now look, lady, it says made in the USA right on the back of it. So just because it's less expensive doesn't mean that it's not made in America, and it takes 2 seconds to flip the package around and just do a check. Is it made in this country or is it not? And Doug, I appreciate your thoughts on the American-made thing, man, because that's what we do here, and we know that's what you do. Doug, you got any new projects on the hook coming up here in the near future?
Well, the projects right now, I'm working with a charity called Three Nails Motorcycle Union, and that is also their website.
I know those guys.
And Gary and Vernon and those people are just really just wonderful, wonderful guys. And I don't know all the details, of their dealings with other shops prior to mine, but they brought a bike in here that was badly laid out. And we've been chipping away slowly but surely at making it a better bike, and actually put some very, very cool things on it. So we're still in the works on that, and I had mentioned before I have 2 bagger projects. One of them is very cool, and the Road Glide that we're doing, which is brand spanking new 2013 from the dealer to us, is pretty much a cut the neck off, cut the rear end off of it, drop seated, 140 plus horsepower, Baker 7-speed, big clutch, big tires, one-off wheels, perimeter rotors, you name it. I have a client who is pretty much giving me free hand to build what I want to build, the way I want to build it. So that's something that I'm pretty excited about that we're working on right now.
That sounds cool. Hey, we just had somebody barge in the office here, the studio, that wants to say a couple words.
Hey, Mark, all I have to say here is, are you sure she's 18? What are you doing in my studio here, man? I think you should check her ID.
Thanks, Bert. That was Mr. Bert Baker there, and sorry, Doug, that he interrupted your interview, but it's Bert,
That's okay.
That sounds like a cool bagger. That is, you've done quite a few of the 7-speeds and the attitude adjusters that we always recommend with them, and it's great to have a dealer like you that's a frame or a point of reference, someone that I can refer guys to, because why? Don't take it from me. I work here. I sell the stuff. Ask the guys that are using it. Ask the guys that use it every day. That's what I like to do. But Doug, make sure that we want to know if someone wants to contact Creative Cycle or check out your website or your Facebook page. Give us a little plug. Give us the info.
Plug. Website is, of course, Creative Cycles with an S on the end of cycles.com, and have a pretty decent website. Not too bad. A lot of samples of different bikes we've done over the years. And yes, I did say samples. When you've been doing this as long as I've been doing this, you certainly, can't afford to stick every bike you've ever done there. Load time would just take forever. So there's a mix of baggers and softails and dynos and customs of different configuration stuff that we've done out there. Definitely have a Facebook page, which is also Creative Cycles with an S on the end of it. And apparently there's some people that have been trying to knock off the name Creative Cycles. There is a trademark on it. And just look for the Creative Cycles that has the the picture of the bike that was mentioned earlier, I was trying to think of the name of the bike. It's the Hard Rock Casino Roadhouse tour bike.
Nice.
That bike is there. You'll see that on the page, and yes, the Facebook page is Creative Cycles. And we have a MySpace page. I don't think anybody does MySpace any longer. It's also Creative Cycles. But,
whatever happened to that bike, by the way?
That bike was actually the winning bike of that tour, and was actually paid for by the casino, and the casino used it as a giveaway.
Nice, nice. You got a telephone number they can contact you at, Doug?
Absolutely. We're right here in a beautiful Garden State, and the number is 732-751-1403.
One more time, because people are slow with pencils and pens.
That's okay. I'm slow all the time. It's 732-751-1403.
And you are actually on the Jersey Shore. I mean, you're on the shore where you're at.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thankfully, relatively unaffected from the last big storm, so you're good to go and full capacity.
Up and running.
Yep, absolutely. We were very lucky. Both my business and my home are located reasonably high, and we were very, very lucky.
Perfect. Doug, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. We truly appreciate it. We'll get you back on in the future. And thanks, man.
I greatly appreciate the opportunity. You guys are wonderful. Thanks so much. Keep doing it. USA, man. Go for it. Thanks.
Hell yes. All right, folks, we got to get out for a break. This is the Two-Wheel Meltdown.
You're listening to Internet Radio America, the Two-Wheel Meltdown. We'll be back. Tuesday on Internet Radio America, it's Beans and Apples. Sax and Rowdy in the house to talk about New York and Boston. It's the sports. It's the culture. It's the fans. Beans and Apples, a special sports talk show between New York and Boston. 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights on Internet Radio America.
Can't seem to find the right size wrench? Are you tired of searching for the right tool? Introducing the Loggerhead Bionic Wrench. It's 14 wrenches in one. Any size, just squeeze and turn. The patented design produces a powerful mechanical advantage. Pliers and adjustable wrenches can strip the corners, but that won't stop the Bionic because it grips on all 6 sides. Simply squeeze and turn. American made and a proven winner. No more guessing. Easy to use. Adjusts like a pliers. The Bionic wrench is 14 wrenches in one. Everyone needs one. At home or on the road. With the patented gripping power. The Bionic grips them all. It's a gripping experience. Thousands of uses for the Bionic wrench. Makes a great gift for everyone on your holiday list. 100% American made. Lifetime guarantee.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Pointer Brand. Pointer Brand jeans, made in America, 100 years in business. Go to pointerbrand.com. Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
And 3 men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight?
Gotta love the Braveheart. Thanks, Frank. Welcome back, folks. This is the Two-Wheel Meltdown, and we're going to roll on. All right, folks, we're going to talk about our featured product of the week. We may have discussed this or discussed it in a different form at one point in time or another, but all these radio shows are starting to blend together now. Imagine if we did this every day, man. We wouldn't know our
I think we could run out of stuff to talk about, or just keep,
We're going to talk about the right side drive. Now, James and I were just discussing off the air the origins of this, and The way I grasped it when I first come in, which was a couple of years after Bert had come out with the right side drive, and now that we know that he's lingering around the studio in the building, we may be able to bring him in for some expertise. But the idea was the rear tires kept getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and the next thing you know, you've got this offset on the left side of the motorcycle that looks like this monstrous, it's like another motor hanging off the side of your motorcycle, and you're leaning as you're driving down the road because there's too much weight on one side of the bike, because you have to keep widening things to allow for the wider tire. And Bert said, screw that, man. Why don't we just put the drive pulley on the right side and balance the bike out, so you have your primary drive on the left-hand side of the motorcycle. You have the secondary drive on the right-hand side of the motorcycle. Now you can go 300 wide, 300 millimeter, on the tire and still be balanced and still be able to roll down the road. That's the origins that I know. James, you just described a couple of people that you think may have been involved in those original, the first couple of right side drives.
Well, I don't want to talk out of school. I wish Bert was here to verify this, but the way I understand it, and he told it to me, he was doing some project for a Jack Sport car, which is a little kind of like a smaller scale little dirt track racer. Some of them used Yamaha inline 4 motors. They used several different power plants, but I guess they needed a transmission where power come in on one side and out on the other. I know there were some prototypes with some V-twin motors built too, and I think that was actually the original origin, and Bert
that was the basis of the design.
Right, and I think Bert was displaying at the Indy show, I believe it was, and he had his standard 6-speed and display stuff and kind of brought this thing along with him just to show, what he can do, and that, yeah, we do out-of-the-box stuff, and we make motorcycle stuff, but, we can do this and this. And a fellow by the name of Skeeter Todd, who's a previous guest and an industry icon, saw it.
Yeah, a great guy.
And, yeah, Skeeter's the kind of guy that, he'll start running around in circles and going crazy, and
whoa, what's that?
Like,
what's that, man?
Calm down. Yeah. But he was very tight with Rolling Thunder frames in Canada, and they...
Sam up there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Sam. I believe they did the first right side drive wide tire chassis kit around that particular unit.
That sounds like a good history, and we're going to call it fact at this moment until Bert comes barging in and tells us otherwise. But that is what the right side drive does. It balances out the motorcycle. So if you want to put that 250 tire, that 300 millimeter tire on there, I don't like them personally. I rode it. It's not my cup of tea, but they do look badass. I mean, you got to admit at least that much. And so if you want to do it right, man, put it on the right side drive. Then you don't have to find that offset pulley. Then you don't have to offset your tranny in the frame. Then you don't have to bring your primary out farther. You can keep the primary right where it's always been.
And you can go straight instead of always making a left.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the basis of a right side drive, and we have them. We can put them in just about any Harley Davidson case that's out there. I don't care whether it's an Evo or a twin cam or what it is. We'll throw a right side drive in that type of case. We actually used to do builder's kits for these, but they're not the easiest thing to assemble. The tolerances have to be perfect, or the gears are not going to line up right, and it caused a lot of hassles with some guys that just you may be familiar with a left side drive transmission. You may have done a ton of them, but the right side drive is a whole new animal, and so we only offer them in complete units, but we will put them in any case that Harley Davidson makes, and we've got a couple special ones too. We've got the right side drive from the Rolling Thunder, what's called our R2 RT 250 project, and that will fit in their bagger frame. We can hook you up with that, no problem. We also have a 07 and up style that only works with the soft tail models. And we can put a right side drive on those too. So whatever you got, if you're thinking of going for a wide tire, then please, man, give us a call. We'll give you the skinny, and we'll hook you up. As always, we're here toll free, 1-877-640-2004. James.
I think one cool thing that not everybody realizes is that funky invention of right side drive just spawned this industry of production custom motorcycles. I mean, when you saw a bike with a 300 tire when they first came out, or whatever was big at the time, 250 or 280, it was usually a one-off thing that a guy built in his garage. And now you have companies like, Big Dog and Bourgette's, and there's
tons
literally
of them out there.
Dozens and dozens of them building these production right side drive wide tire motorcycles, and it was a crazy thing for something that was just a
and it blew up for there was a 5-year stretch where when you went to Daytona or Sturgis, that's all you seen.
That's all you saw. I wonder where they are now. But
right. There are kits still available out there. We used to actually make a 300 kit that would fit your stock softail. And we do not do that anymore. We discontinued that just because of the popularity of it was dying down. But there are companies out there not promoting these guys any more than I'm about to promote them. But Heartland makes a good kit. I've seen it myself, and they'll take care of you. Look them up, Google them. Whatever you need to do if it's something that you still want to do to your motorcycle. All right, I've been running on time all night long. I've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes is plenty enough time for Mark P. Story time. We've had a lot of crazy characters come through the Baker drivetrain doors. Some of them are still with us. Some of them are not. Some of them have moved on to better jobs. I'm not sure what this particular character is doing right now, but I know he's still around. I just seen him a few months ago. A fellow by the name of Repo Blunts. If we've got some old school listeners out there, they know who he is. They know Repo, and there's a lot of our dealers that if they were around in the heyday, they know Repo. One trip out to Sturgis, Daytona, one of them. Repo got a little intoxicated. There was our company truck, and he got mad about something. Hard to tell what Repo got mad about, but our poor little buddy, and used to be our marketing director, Scout, was sleeping in the back seat because I believe he was with Repo during this drinking session and probably had a few too many himself. Repo got mad. He ripped off the rear view mirror of the truck and threw it into the back seat. Well, it landed perfectly or unperfectly, depending on how you want to look at it, but it cocked Scout right in the head. And little bleeding going on there. And I've got a caller. Caller, are you with us? You're on the Two-Wheel Meltdown.
I'm here.
Who am I speaking with?
This is Paul.
This is Paul from Bare Knuckle.
That's
Paul,
me.
can you hang with us, buddy? You've been hanging with us for about 8 weeks. I got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back, and we will finally, at long last, on the air with Paul from Bare Knuckle Choppers. We'll be right back, folks. This is the Two-Wheel Meltdown.
Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America.
Attention all animal lovers. This is Cynthia Gary, the inventor of Scratch and All. We know all animals love to scratch. Scratch and All is a safe, unique, American-made animal enrichment product that can be mounted flat on a wall or bent over corners. All four sides interlock so you can design a grid tailored specifically to your animal's needs, and it can be a supplement to acupressure. Go to scratchandall.com and take advantage of the celebration bundle. Nearly 11,000 sold. That's the word scratch, the letter N as in Nancy, ALL.com, or call 1-888-9-SCRATCH.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Tillytown, proudly selling American-made. Look for a unique place to shop for the perfect gift? Then come visit Tillytown. That's TILLIETOWNE.com. 100% American-made. Tuesday on Internet Radio America, it's Beans and Apples. Sax and Rowdy in the house to talk about New York and Boston. It's the sports. It's the culture. It's the fans. Beans and Apples, a special sports talk show between New York and Boston. 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday nights on Internet Radio America. And don't forget, after the Two-Wheel Meltdown tonight, actually at 8 o'clock, it's Pets, Rescue, etc. with Trace and the gang. Leaders in Internet media and the American-made movement. You're listening to Internet Radio America. Get back to the Two-Wheel Meltdown. Take it away, Mark.
Thanks, Frank. Oh, man, love the Braveheart stuff. Love it. And at long last, we finally got him. Paul, buddy, bare knuckle choppers, how you doing?
Good. Are we on?
We are on, and we're live.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing?
Good, man, good. I know we touched on probably everything I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you it all again so we can get it recorded and get it live coming right from your mouth.
No problem.
Give our listeners a taste of what you do there at Bare Knuckle Choppers.
We run the gamut from little bitty tiny pieces to complete motorcycles, everything in between. Big fabrication jobs, big machine jobs, everything. We spin fenders, we build frames, we build front ends. We make a lot of smaller assemblies such as MIG controls and air cleaners. We make oil tanks, just a little bit of everything. You know, we try to. The focus of the shop is, of course, parts production, and the motorcycle. You know, building complete bikes keeps it fun and interesting, but also serves as a good platform for R&D. And of course, you know, major focus on everything being made here in the States.
Right here in this country, Paul,
yes,
is just like us. Touch on a little bit about that, American made, and what it means to you, Paul.
I guess, you know, it just goes back to the way I was raised. You know, both of my grandfathers retired from McDonnell Douglas here in St. Louis. So, you know, just seeing the pride that they took in their craft, and you know, those guys were just proud as could be to have a job back then, and, you know, much less, you know, they were both meticulous machinists, and you know, just had the utmost pride in their work, and you'd never see, you know, back when I was a little kid, it was anything made in Japan. You wouldn't see it in their toolbox or in their garage, and you know, man, Japan's like light years ahead of anything that comes from the rest of Asia these days, but, you know, they're not the problem anymore. It's, you know, everything from China and, you know, Taiwan, wherever it may be, and unfortunately it's a scourge to our industry, in my opinion, because so many people here knock off the parts that so many of us make. You guys went through it back in the, you know, I mean, you guys still go through it, but, you know, there was that one company that completely knocked off your transmission. Yeah. Aside from the quality and the tolerances and the fit and finish, but, you know, and it just gets under my skin, and people cut those corners and they put that junk out on the street, and, you know, the guys like us that, you know, work our fingers to the bone every day have to fight with that. So we do everything we can to, I mean, we practice what we preach, you know, right down to the last nuts and bolts and washers and, you know, fluids, everything. You know, we make sure that, you know, we verify even the steel when it comes from the steel yard.
Paul, you started off, like you said, with some smaller products. Was it your risers that really got you going?
The risers, actually, it's a funny story. So many people would call and buy this and that from us, and they'd always ask, you guys make risers, and we never did. Just because there's so many risers out there, you know, it's like, what do you do to set yourself aside from that? So people would call, though, wanting to buy them from us just because they liked getting our stuff, and they, you know, people kind of get a warm, fuzzy feeling getting all the stuff from the same place. So I just kind of, about a year ago, I sat down and just said, okay, now, if you can improve on something like the riser, what would you do? And the thing that always seems to be a hassle to me on risers is that the Allen head, the head of the Allen either strips out or the bolt strips out because you're trying to crank down too tight. You know, you got tall ape hangers and they're slipping.
Amen.
Yeah, so what we did, you know, to kind of rectify both problems, I put the bolts at opposing angles. You know, I can't remember the angle off the top of my head. So they're not both pulling straight up. They're pulling kind of against each other so that, you know, they're the geometry and the physics that are involved eliminate the bolts, the thread stripping out, and then we just, easy enough, we called ARP and got ARP, you know, 12-point fasteners for the top. And, you know, those 12-point fasteners aren't going to strip out unless you got junk sockets that you put on them. But, you know, so we did that, and the design's pretty cool. We kind of stepped away from your normal kind of, you know, I don't even know what the sizes are, just the round risers. We kind of made a little different design, and, you know, they're a lot of machine work, but, you know, the end result was great. So those have been out for about a year, and they're taking off. We're offering some new sizes, new heights on those now. But what really got me started, I worked for another bike shop, and he just didn't really kind of do things the way I thought was right, so I started building a frame table at home and spent, I don't know, a few months doing all that machine work. And the frames are what got me started. The state of Missouri said you can't do that in your home garage, so I had to go out and get a real, you know, bona fide place of business, and just kind of got thrown out into the street that way, and that's where it took off.
Nice, Paul. Nice. You mentioned that you get to see a lot of the foreign stuff coming in, and guys saying, "Hey, man, here's what I got, man. Can you fix it?" Being Americans, we do end up fixing it, or at least here at Baker Drivetrain, we try our best to cobble together their Chinese crap and make it work for them. Do you do the same thing there, Paul?
Yeah, we have to do the same thing. So, I mean, we try to stay away from it because usually if we do a motorcycle build, it's, you know, it's either one of two things. We source all new parts or rebuild, you know, an old Harley motor maybe, or somebody brings in a shovel head or a pan head and we, you know, refurbish it basically. So we kind of have it good because if it's starting from the ground up, we get to pick what we're using, you know, along with the customer. And if it's coming in, you know, somebody's old shovel head or something, then there may be some old foreign parts on there, but if they are, they just get scrapped. You know, some of the wheels that we've seen that may have come from unknown origins, you know, the guy doesn't know. You can usually tell you know, like the insides, the interior spacers and the wheels are always kind of junked up, and you know, the bearings aren't right. You see a lot of that kind of stuff. The chrome never seems to stick to the spokes or the nipples or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. But for the most part, we don't have to deal with it a whole lot, thankfully. You know, we usually, you know, the customers, you know, fall into one of those two categories, and that kind of helps us avoid all of that.
Now, you're pretty big on Sportster stuff, too, and kits to convert a Sportster into a cool bike. I think that's real important. People underestimate Sportsters. You know, it's a great platform. You can usually get them less expensive, and, you know, you can build a pretty cool bike out of a Sportster, something that's light and lean, kind of squirt in and out of traffic and whatnot. Has that been pretty popular for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really taken off. We do a lot of Buells, too, and I'll hit on them in a second, but the Sportster, you know, it's had such a bad name for so long, unfortunately, and I grew up, my dad had a Sportster, and he's a pretty big guy. He's like, you know, 6'2", probably 270 or so, but, you know, it was kind of, had the geometry changed on it and everything, and hardtailed, and it was a cool little chopper, and this was back in the 70s, and people, man, if it weren't for the Sportster in the 70s, Harley wouldn't be here today, I don't think.
That was the hot rod, man. It was the Sportster or the 650 Triumph. You know, you had one or the other, and it was
the unit motor and transmission set up, the whole deal. You know, I love them. If I didn't look like a circus bear on a tricycle riding one of them, I'd have a few. You know, so they're super cool. You know, we got a couple of different hardtail kits. We can hardtail anything from 57 to present with what we have, including those new rubber mounts. So we've got, you know, and then all the rest of the parts. And the other thing, you know, I wish that, you know, not my pay grade, but I wish Harley hadn't done away with Buell, because that motor, man, we love doing those things. We've got
great suspension and brakes and stuff.
Incredible, the whole thing all the way around. And people want to turn them into a chopper. We'll use all their running gear, including the front end. And man, you've got a cheap little, you know, 90 to 100 horsepower chopper right out of the box. Man, it's good stuff.
You know, we had a buddy of yours on a couple of weeks ago, Paul. It would be Big Will from Faith Forgotten.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, you kind of remind me of him. I mean, I wouldn't look at you on a Sportster and say, and you're a big, goofy guy to be riding a Sportster. It'd be more like, hey, nice bike, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice bike, Gorilla.
He's Big Will for a reason. It's a good moniker for him. He's got a pretty small bike anyway, though. His bike, you know, but people say that about me, too. I don't, you know, even though I'm 6'6", most of my bikes are, you know, not real tall. I don't call them bobbers, but they're still choppers, just not real big and ridiculous, because I still like to get in and out of traffic and through the corners and such.
Yeah, he scared us a touch in Sturgis one year. We sold him a couple of 4-speeds, and yes, we screwed up twice on 2 4-speeds. And we fixed both of them, but he was intimidating when he walked into the booth, nonetheless.
Yeah, he definitely is. He gets the attention of the room quick. But you know, he's a gentle giant, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. He can handle his business when need be, but I mean, you'll never meet a nicer guy. He's
sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah, he's cream of the crop. And let me tell you what, he's not a year or two away from being known as probably the premier sheet metal guy in our industry. I mean, I've done sheet metal for years and years, and if I have any question, he's the guy I call. And I'm telling you what, the dude he's slick, man. He's good. He's really good. He's already, in my opinion, he's already got the skill and the talent to be known as that guy. It's just, you know, he just has a couple more years of getting out there and people seeing him. And that bike he's running around on right now, dead at 19, he just had the tank painted. There's no body work on that tank at all, and it's flawless.
That's crazy. Now, you mentioned something before that kind of stuck with me. You said your grandfathers were machinists, so you grew up as a kid being around machine shops or manual machines and doing stuff.
I didn't grow up around them doing that, because neither one of my dad's father, he had a little bit of that at his house, but you know, neither one of them had like a home machine shop or anything, but I was definitely around it, and I've got a lot of their old tools and that kind of thing.
One of the cool things that made me bring this up, you did an article in The Horse about setting up a Bridgeport and tramming it in and, you know, getting the head square and all, and I thought that was really cool because, you know, a lot of guys can run a machine, but not everybody would know how to kind of zero one in and make sure all the parts you're making are good, and that's a pretty important step. That was a great article.
Right, and then realize that you need to do that every day. You know, I've had a lot of guys come in here that can they can do a lot of stuff, and they don't know how to do that or how to indicate, you know, something in on a 4-jaw chuck on the lathe, and you know, you can get away with a lot of things, but your life's a lot easier, and you make a lot better parts when you put that extra little bit of time, effort, and pride into it.
Just got to find that 0 point, right?
Yeah, and you know what's so funny when you say that? Like, so many of those parts, you can look at those parts that come from overseas, and you can tell that wasn't done. You know, like this. So,
yeah, hey, this hole's not in the middle.
Right, exactly. You guys haven't touched your vise or the head of your machine for weeks, months, who knows? And that's what it is, and they just keep running them. You know, you can tell that that's all it is. You know, aside from the metal being crap, that, you know, they're not doing the right thing. It's so funny that you say that, because there's been so many times, well, I know what they did wrong here.
Well, maybe they don't understand X and Y axis.
Yeah,
Probably call it something different than China. It's not X and Y.
It's all enjoy. But hey, let's end this thing on a lighter note. Our question of the day was what's your favorite movie? Do you got a favorite movie, Paul, or do you?
I heard you guys talking about that earlier. Man, it would be tough. Man, I'd have to put a disclaimer on each one. You know, like being so stressed out with work all the time, I usually like to go home and just laugh. You know, if I'm gonna watch a movie, so you know,
comedy, beautiful, right?
Yeah, Step Brothers, or you know, something from Will Ferrell, or something like that. But man, it's hard to say. Old John Wayne stuff always is cool. That you know, that new movie that came out back, Lawless. That's a good movie. Man, it's hard to say. I gotta probably say pass for lack of a better response. I'm not really sure. I heard you guys talking about that earlier on the show, and I was thinking about it kind of. I was like, I hope they don't ask me that question.
You don't have to answer anything.
No, don't answer. I don't have an answer either. Just like you heard, man. I've got a ton of them, and to put one in front of the other would be like,
it's tough.
You know, to put one of the custom bikes I've seen through my career here at Baker Drivetrain in front of another, and they're all beauties and they're all works of art. Paul, give us your website, give us your phone number, give us the way that people can get a hold of you.
It's bareknucklechoppers.com, B-A-R-E, and then Knuckle Choppers. The phone number is, I got to look at our phone because I don't remember it, 888-240-NUKL. So what does that make it? 6855. So
nice.
Either one of those. We're on Facebook. We've got two different Facebook pages. One's the old friend page. Now we've got a business page. We've been putting everything on lately.
Jeremy.
So
yeah, I had to do the new business page because the other one was already full.
yeah, that's how it is here too. And I don't know why they don't let you just switch them all over, but we're putting a lot more content. We've got a guy that's doing that for us now. We've built some race bikes for him in the past for his cross-country races, and he's been really pushing the social media stuff forward and getting more stuff out there. So a lot of content if people want to check it out.
I got another question for you. Your better half, your fiance, your business partner, what you want. She raises horses, right? Are you into the horse thing yourself? Did you grow up in that?
Yeah, I did grow up around it. A little bit different than what she's into. I actually had a horse until just maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He finally died. But I'm as into it as the better half of a horse lady can be into it. She's fanatical about it, and she has the same passion for that I do with the motorcycles, and the kids are into it, and it's pretty cool. You know, it's a lot of work. She works her butt off at home, and then she comes in here and works just as hard. She's got her hands full, but they make her and the kids happy. It's fun.
Crazy.
Horse, iron horse, you know, it's all the same thing, man.
She just opened the door and yelled that I'm not into him, that I hate him.
Oh, well,
she's listening in the other room apparently.
I'll add another quick little ditty. We had we do those poster calendars every year. I believe she was the model on the ass backwards reverse burnout poster, and I think that's probably the most sought after popular one we ever had. People always come up to us and say, "Hey, can I get that reverse burnout girl calendar?"
Yeah, the 2008. It's on the back side of my door here. Yeah, that was it was my favorite too, obviously.
Yeah, I bet.
We'll sell them. We got a whole box full of them.
Oh, awesome! We do get requests and
do you really?
I'm pretty sure we're just about out. If we're not out, we would really have to scavenge to find another one. And I might have to go off the top of my garage. But yeah, we do still get requests because we posted once upon a time on the website that we can get the old calendars for you. You know, just give us a call.
I think I saw that on there.
Yeah, good to know you got a supply. We'll just transfer the calls over to you.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
Appreciate it. Paul, I want to thank you. It took a long time to get you on the radio, get it recorded and all that good stuff, but I really appreciate you coming on tonight, man.
My pleasure. I hope I can do it again soon.
Appreciate it, Paul, too.
All right, guys.
Take care, brother.
All right, guys. Bye.
All right, there we go. We finally got Paul from Bare Knuckle Choppers on and recorded, and we're all good. I told you we would touch on Daytona a bit. I've only got about a minute left. James, just give me a brief. Who did you see? Who did you meet? Was there anything cool?
It was way cool. Weather was pretty nice.
I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah, only one. You know the rule. Got to hang out with our buddy Bill Dodge. Had our Smokedown Showdown at the Iron Horse Saloon, emceed by the great Jay Allen. Man, where do I start? Where do I stop? It was just nonstop action.
We were set up